The manhwa starts in a grand palace walkway. Right away, we see our girl, Estelle, getting slapped across the face by an older woman. Turns out, this woman is her stepmother. She's furious, demanding to know who dared to give our girl such a fine dress. Our girl, now on her knees, stays completely silent. She doesn't say a single word. Her stepmother isn't having it. She snaps her fingers, and a maid rushes to hand her a pair of scissors. Without hesitation, she starts cutting up our girl's dress, slicing through the fabric like it's nothing. After a few cuts, she steps back and smirks, saying this new version suits our girl much better. But she's not done yet. She keeps going, cutting more and more, determined to make our girl look worse, uglier than a street rat. Still, our girl doesn't react. She stays frozen, trying to hold herself together. She knows that fighting back won't change anything. All she can do is hope this nightmare ends soon. As she kneels on the cold floor, silent tears slip down her cheeks. Finally, her stepmother tosses the scissors aside and walks away, telling our girl to fix her appearance. But there's nothing left to fix. Her once beautiful dress is now nothing but shredded fabric hanging off her body. In her room, she sits sadly. She decides not to cry. Crying won't change anything. She has to find a way to survive in this nightmarish palace. She feels staying here is still better than being sold as a concubine to some foreign noble. At least she have managed to endure here since childhood. Her stepmother, Isla, has always regarded her as a thorn on her side, and her son, Crown Prince Ashelon, who sees her as nothing but his toy. She decides to take anything that comes her way. She feels it's better than being sold off as a concubine. Meanwhile, her father sees everything she's suffering. He had once told her that if she wants to keep her status as a princess, she should always be obedient. The emperor, Hastion, whom she has never referred to as father before, knew everything but chooses to ignore. Her mother, violated by the emperor, gave birth to her. She was born under force, an unwanted child, but her mother always loved and cared for her. Since her death, she have had no one. Not a single person has stayed by her side. In this big palace, she has always been on her own, a never-ending, suffocating cycle. There is only one way for her to escape this hellish curse, and that is on the night of the full moon in midwinter, when the ice castle where the demon sleeps appears. Everyone in the northern continent knows the legend. It says that offering a rare and valuable sacrifice to the blue-eyed demon in the ice castle will awaken the demon from its long sleep, and it will grant any wish. It may seem like an old tale from the past, but there's a reason why it's not dismissed as mere story. Because once every year, the White Castle truly spears in the night sky. Our girl is there now. She looks at the castle. It's breathtaking. Perhaps the legend might be actually real. She brings out a knife and cuts her palm. Blood starts coming out. Pointing towards the castle, she addresses the demon, telling it to come out if he is real. Continuing, she says that if he is more than a legend or a dream, he should wake up right now. That there's no offering more valuable or precious than she is. After a while, nothing happens. She is beginning to lose hope. She wonders if all of this is in vain. Suddenly, she begins to perceive the scent of flowers. Blue flowers begin to surround her. She wonders what is going on. Then a man comes and holds her from behind. Taking her hands, he licks the blood. She's shocked and couldn't move either. He speaks, saying that a child of desert tribes and the Hartan imperial family is truly the most valuable and precious offering in the continent. She looks at her palms. The wound is gone like it never existed. She wonders if he is truly the demon. She doesn't want to think too much. Instead, she tells him her request. She tells him to make her the emperor, that he should give her the strength to bring those who hurt her down to hell. He asks her if she isn't afraid, adding that he'd take everything away from her as payment. She replies, saying that she is already in hell. He can take everything, her body, her soul, all of it. He's shocked by her desperation. Immediately he bites her neck and tells her that she's welcome to hell. For centuries, the northern continent has been ruled by the land of snow and ice, the Hartan Empire. With no one greedy enough to covert the frozen lands, there was no need to fear foreign invasions. The long-standing royal family of Hartan eventually decayed in corruption, as if it were only natural. With none of its past glory remaining, not even a snowflake's worth, The royal family was left reeking of rot. Among them was a nameless princess. And that is our girl, Estelle de Harton. The next morning, she wakes up on her bed, her body sinking into the soft sheets. For a moment, she just lies there, staring up at the ceiling, her mind clouded with confusion. The last thing she remembers is the blizzard, the howling wind, the freezing snow, the endless white stretching out in every direction. She was lost, trapped in the middle of the snowfield, completely at the mercy of the storm. And yet, somehow, she is here now, warm and safe. Slowly, she pushes herself up and looks around. The room is elegant, almost too perfect, with an otherworldly glow that makes everything feel unreal. She swings her legs over the side of the bed and stands, her bare feet sinking into the plush rug. Something about this place feels strange, like she's stepped into a dream that doesn't want to end. She walks to the window and pulls back the heavy curtains. Outside, the world is blindingly bright, the snow reflecting the morning sun like scattered diamonds. And there, standing tall and magnificent in the distance, is the ice castle. Her heart stops. That's not possible. The ice castle isn't supposed to be here. It appears only once a year, on the deep mystical night of the full moon. It's nothing more than a fleeting illusion, a legend whispered in hushed voices. It comes and goes like a mirage, impossible to hold on to, impossible to enter. And yet here it is, solid, unmoving, as if daring her to question its existence. She blinks, trying to convince herself that this is all some kind of trick. Maybe she's still dreaming. Maybe she never made it out of the storm at all. But then she turns, her eyes landing on the table beside her bed. She sees a knife. Her breath catches in her throat. Memories crash into her all at once, flooding back with terrifying clarity. The snowfield, the overwhelming scent of blue roses filling the air, their petals glistening like frozen fire, the way the cold burned against her skin, the way her heart pounded as she stood there, surrounded by something far beyond her understanding. And then, him. The man with icy blue eyes. She remembers now. The way he looked at her, the way his voice curled around her like a spell, pulling her in before she even had a chance to resist. He had welcomed her with a smile that sent shivers down her spine, welcomed her to hell. Her fingers tighten around the fabric of her dress as a single question rises in her mind, chilling her more than the snow ever could. What has she done? There's a knock on the door and a voice tells her that she's coming in. Immediately, she takes the knife from on top the table and puts it inside the drawer. She tells her to come in. The maid walks in with two other maids and a strange man dressed as a servant. The man comes in front, hails her, and tells her that he has been assigned to serve her from today. He tells her that his name is Estelle. She looks at him. He fits the description of the demon she saw yesterday. She wonders if the demon of the ice castle is here to serve her. She still can't believe that she woke up a slumbering demon and made a contract with him. She asks the other maid why she suddenly got a new attendant. The maid tells her that there was lack of personnel in her quarters, so she decided to bring her an attendant. She assures our girl that he will serve her well. Our girl looks on. She's not persuaded. The story is full of holes. There's no way Isla, who derives joy from tormenting her, would approve of bringing in a new servant under the excuse of a staff shortage. Besides, allowing a maidservant to serve as the princess' personal attendant is strange. She doesn't understand what kind of trickery this is. She looks at him. He puts his hand on his lip, signaling her not to speak again. After a while, the maids finish dressing her up. They begin to leave. She's left alone with the servant. She is wondering how he made it happen, that he is now serving her. He replies, telling her that he can do anything. And there's no better role than this, to assist her up close. Coming close to her, he tells her that he guesses he's not really fond of playing the role of attendant. He brings her closer. She tries to wriggle off. He urges her to stay still. Sniffing her, he announces that she has a delightful scent. She tries to call him, and he tells her that she should call him Satel. She asks him if he is truly here to fulfill the wish she spoke of. He says yes, that bit by bit he will help her reach the glory she desires. He adds that if she wants her wish to fulfilled instantly, he can do that too. He asks her if she would like him to hang the corpses of her family throughout the palace instead of flags by the next morning. Quickly, she tells him that it won't be necessary for him to do that. That what she desires isn't an empty shell of a throne. That what she truly wants is to crush those who made her suffer, to wear the imperial crown with hands soaked with blood of vengeance. He smiles and assures her that he will act solely the way she wants, that until her goal is achieved, she will be his master. She asks her what would happen after her goal has been achieved. He tells her that he will become her master and take everything, her pure body, her noble blood, and even her pristine soul, all of it. An ice castle that appeared in broad daylight, a sight that no one had ever imagined, not even once in their lifetime, stirred not only the Hartan Empire, but also the whole northern continent. Some say it's a sign that the world is coming to an end, while others claimed it foretold an unending harsh winter. Amidst the diverse opinions, one thing was universally agreed upon. The entire ice castle is undoubtedly a bad omen. This concern is the reason a meeting of noble was called by the emperor. One of the noble men tells him that bad rumors are spreading among the citizens. That silence can't be maintained forever. He suggests that they must hastily summon scholars well versed in the ice castle and launch a thorough investigation. The emperor, Hastion de Hartan, sighs tiredly. He wonders why this have to happen now. The ice castle have been dormant for centuries. He wonders why it decides to cause an uproar now. Someone on the table suggests that they proclaim the ice castle to be a good omen. The emperor looks at the direction of the voice and asks the man who he is. The man replies that he is Count Belvoir. The count continues, saying that they have long been many rumors surrounding the ice castle, that if the imperial family declares it a good sign, all other controversies would be laid to rest. A noble man amongst them agrees with the count and persuades the emperor to accept the suggestion. The emperor accepts it and orders that they should proclaim the ice castle as a good omen. After the meeting, noble men stood in clusters discussing about their decision. One of them is skeptical on how the ice castle can be declared as a good sign. He adds that that's where the blue-eyed demon resides. Another man tells him that they don't have any better alternatives. Count Belvoir is walking away. One of them calls to him to have a chat. He refuses, saying he has something urgent to attend to. He walks away into the other side of the palace. The empress meets him there. She orders her maids to leave the place. She hugs the count and tells him that she has missed him. He replies that it's been a while. He calls her empress. She reminds him about what she told him, that he's Shoaib acting formal when they are alone. He asks her how Ashelon is doing. She asks him why he is concerned. He replies that there's no father that wouldn't be curious about his son. The empress smiles. The crown prince Ashelon, the child not of Emperor Hastion but born of the seed of Count Belvoir, but fortunately he was born as a spitting image of her. But her beloved son Ashelon lacks one thing, something that despicable woman shamelessly possesses. The undeniable proof of the Hartan imperial bloodline, dazzling platinum hair and light green eyes. While thinking about our girl, she becomes furious. She wants to discipline her more. She calls out to her maid to go get our girl. Meanwhile, in our girl's room, she's still trying to wrap her head around the man standing in front of her. The male lead. He's calm, confident, completely unfazed by the situation, while she's still trying to figure out what exactly he wants from her. She looks him up and down, arms crossed, and asks if he's seriously planning to stay by her side all the time, acting as her attendant. Without hesitation, he says yes. Just like that, as if it's already decided, as if she has no say in it. She narrows her eyes. That's not going to happen. She tells him flat out that she can't allow a man of unknown origin to stay in her palace, let alone work as her personal attendant. It's unheard of, completely unacceptable. There has to be another way, another arrangement. She's sure of it, but he doesn't back down. In fact, he barely even reacts. He simply assures her in that calm way of his that no one will find it strange. It's already been arranged. Everything is set. There's nothing left for her to argue about. Before she can even fully process that, a knock on the door interrupts the conversation. The maid's voice comes from the other side, announcing her presence. She doesn't wait for permission before delivering the message. The Empress is calling. There's a moment of silence. Then, just as our girl is about to respond, the male lead speaks first. Without missing a beat, he tells her that they should go. And then, in the most casual tone imaginable, he adds that she should introduce him to the people she wants dead. Just like that. As if he's asking about the weather. As if the thought of killing people for her is the most normal thing in the world. Our girl freezes. She stares at him, wondering if she heard him correctly. But the way he's looking at her, calm, serious, completely unfazed, tells her that she definitely did. And suddenly she realizes something. This man isn't just here to be her attendant. He isn't here to serve tea or carry messages. He's here for something much, much darker. They get to the Empress Palace and find her sitting down. Count Belvoir is standing beside her. The princess bows and greets her. The male lead still standing by her side. The Empress tells her that she has brought a man into the palace already. She tells her that she is shameless as her mother. She orders the male lead to raise his head. He does so immediately, smiling. The Empress is astonished by his handsomeness. She has never wanted someone this baldy before, to keep them close all night long. She asks our girl who the man is, adding that he doesn't suit her at all. Our girl tells her that he is the newly assigned servant to her palace. The Empress orders them to leave. In our girl's room, she's going through some books, thinking of what just transpired. It's the first time she has ever left the Empress Palace without any disturbance. She turns to the male lead and asks him if he is trying to seduce the Empress. He replies that he will do so if it's needed for her goal to be achieved. He asks her if she dislikes dirty methods. He reminds her of his promise to make her the Empress. He asks her if the means by which he would achieve that really matters. Simply killing them isn't enough. He reminds her that she woke him up because she wanted to be thrown into hell with them. She tells him that she doesn't care about what he does as long as he delivers results. And also she reminds him that he's the one that chose to be her servant. Therefore, as her servant, he must obey her commands. He prostrates, agreeing and calling her master. She tells him to call her princess. He tells her that he'd follow her orders. She looks at his countenance. She wonders if she is overthinking it or he is enjoying doing what he is doing. Maybe it's because he is not human, but she just can't understand how he thinks. She asks him why he is trying to seduce the Empress. He tells her that for her to become the Empress, she will need support from others. And to do that, she needs to weaken the Empress' powers. Breaking the alliance between the Empress and the Count should be their top priority. Our girl tells him that that's not an easy relationship to break. Count Belvoir was openly Isla's lover. The Emperor knows this, but have turned a blind eye, not wanting to deal with the hassle. Even if Estelle wins Isla's heart, Count Belvoir isn't stupid enough to betray her. She tells him that just targeting Isla won't work. He suggests that they should target both, that he will handle the Empress and she will take care of Count Belvoir. She tells him that it's not possible. He asks her why. She replies that she has no attractive qualities that would draw Count Belvoir to her. He asks her if she thinks he's suggesting that she should seduce him intimately. She replies that she didn't see it that way. He tells her that she is more than attractive, enough to awaken someone who has been sleeping for centuries. She replies that it's because she is a Devaris. He asks her if she really thinks that no other Devaris has tried to awaken him before. Devaris, a rare and powerful ethnic group among the desert continent's minorites. Their flesh and blood are said to possess the miraculous ability to heal any wound, no matter how deep or severe. The Devaris royal palace eventually fell, destroyed by humans who sought their power. Her mother, Ilyana, was the last princess of Devaris, taken during the invasion. Her mother has always told her when she was young that she should remember that she has royal blood, that it's her duty to find the surviving members of her clan. Someone must have believed in the old legends, trying to make a deal with the blue-eyed demon. Despite their desperate attempts, they were wiped out, and the remaining members of the clan, like her mother and her, and have forced to live in secret. Her mother had told her that she shouldn't let anyone know that she is a Devaris, that she should only reveal it to those of the same bloodline with her. The male lead tells her that it doesn't mean anything to him whether she is a Devaris or not. She's surprised by what he said. There's a feeling of emptiness mixed with a strange sense of relief. She tells him that she doesn't think she has much to offer in terms of charms. He replies, telling her that it is obvious that she doesn't understand her own worth. Reaching out for her hand, he asks her if she would like to step outside the palace for a bit. She doesn't have time to think as he carries her in his arms. Immediately, he flies out of the window. It's late at night and the view from up is so nice. He asks her if she likes it. She asks him where they're headed. He replies that they're going to Munchad. She has heard of that place before. A luxurious tarvan in the capital, where high-ranking nobles and wealthy merchants go for secret dealings or to trade information. The most renowned high-class establishment in the city. He tells her that he will gather information about Count Belvoir there and get what she needs as well. She wonders if this is a place he goes often. As they walk towards the door, the guards tell them to stop, saying that they need a pass to enter inside. The male lead flicks his finger and they stop to prostrate before her. She is surprised. He tells her not to be surprised, that she will need to get used to it. That from now on, people bowing to her would be an everyday sight. They enter inside the hall without resistance. As they walk along the corridor, she begins to think. She wonders if he sees this as a game. She wonders if the contract sealed with her life to him. Breaking her thoughts, he asks her if she knows who owns Munchad. She replies immediately that she knows, calling a name, Parsilia, the famous widow of high society, known for creating Munchad by squandering her dead husband's fortune. It would be harder to find someone on the continent who hasn't neared of her. This labyrinth-like structure is such an unusual layout. There aren't even any staff around, and it's so quiet. Getting to a door, the male lead tells her that the widow is merely a mask to hide the truth. Opening the door, he tells her the truth. In the room they just opened, it's filled with books inside, bookshelves in all directions. She's surprised to see a small boy there, holding a book. The boy looks at her and is surprised too. He comments that she looks so tasty. The male lead asks him if he is curious. The boy replies that curiosity is the source of his existence. He adds that knowing, understanding and remembering things is what fulfills him the most. He walks closer to our girl and smells her. He announces that she has a nice scent. He asks the male lead if he will share a little with him too, since he brought her all the way. The male lead pushes him away from our girl. The boy tells him that if he is not willing to share her, he shouldn't have brought her with him. He asks the male lead why he woke up all of a sudden, asking what trouble he is up to. The male lead replies that he's awake because our girl is his master. The child is surprised that Satael is helping a human. He asks if it's a real contract. The male lead replies yes, he's surprised. He looks at her and asks if she is the princess. She formally introduces herself to him. Immediately, he prostrates and greets her. Our girl comments that she saw him holding Baalbum's dead scriptures earlier, adding that she was delighted to see it, that it is a fascinating book. The boy is surprised that she has read that book. He adds that it isn't a common book. He asks her if she has read the reinterpretation of the death scriptures. She says she has read it. He asks of another one and she says the same thing. He's excited. He comments that it has been long since he talked about books like this. It's so refreshing for him. He turns to her, holding her hair. He tells her that she really looks delicious, that she has a lovely scent. From the way he's behaving, she asks him if he is human. He smiles and replies that he might have made it too obvious from the start. Standing up, he tells her that since it has gotten to this point, he would like to introduce himself formally. In a split second, he transformed and becomes a man. Our girl is shocked. He smiles and introduces himself as Roa, the owner of Munchad. Coming closer, he tells our girl that she should consider ditching the male lead and form a contract with him instead. Immediately, the male lead flicks his finger and blue roses entangle Roa, throwing him to the ground and injuring him. The male lead tells him that he had been warned before. Roa is in pain. He tells the male lead that he was just joking. The male lead tells him to investigate Count Belvoir and also prepare dresses and accessories, suitable for the princess to wear right away. He turns to our girl and suggests that they head back home, now that they're done with what they came for. As they walk away, Roa stands up, prostrating. He tells the princess that he looks forward to seeing her again. That moonshot will always be open for her. The male lead teleports them back to our girl's room. As they arrive, he comments that experiencing teleporting twice in a row would be tiring for a human. He sits her down and begins to work on her hair. She asks if Roa is the owner of Moonshad. He says yes. She still can't believe it. He is also a demon like Satile. But why would a demon mingle amongst humans, running a high-class bar that sells information? The male lead tells her that it's just a pastime he created to endure the boredom of immortality. She asks him why Roa chose humans of all things. The male lead replies that it's because it's easier to harvest souls from them, that the demons are always starving. He goes ahead, telling her that they're beings likened to a king, that he is merely the oldest and strongest amongst them. He tells her that for Roa to reveal his true form, it is a gesture of trust, that this is a significant achievement. He warns her to beware of him, though, that he is greedy and unpredictable. She turns to him and asks if she shouldn't be cautious around him, too. Coming closer to her, he asks her what she thinks of all of these. He comes closer to her and kisses her. She didn't move an inch. He asks her if she now believes even just a little that she's attractive. The ice castle merely reveals its presence without causing any notable changes. The northern continent, which had fallen into great chaos, gradually regained its original tranquility. The rumor claiming that the ice castle would bring blessings and glory likely played a part in maintaining this false peace. The unyielding presence of the ice castle transformed into a symbol representing the infinite glory of the Hartan imperial family. In the end, nothing had yet been unconverted. Our girl is in her room, reading a book. She mistakenly injures herself and starts bleeding. Her mind goes to what happened last night. The kiss was an impulsive act. He had certainly given her enough time to escape, but she didn't run. She doesn't know why. By the time she came to her senses, she was kissing him. For him, a kiss was probably nothing more than a means to an end. He had told her that she is undeniably captivating enough to awaken someone who have been asleep for centuries. That statement was enough to prove her thoughts. He had offered that she go to bed. Unlike her, still lost in thoughts over a mere kiss. He remained calm and composed as if nothing had happened. After that, he began focusing on managing the princess palace as though he were a real servant. The interior, which had been filled with worn-out clothes, perpetually cold food, and dust rolling around due to the lack of cleaning, with cobwebs thriving everywhere. Whatever he did, the maids who had previously done nothing suddenly started working diligently. The dirty and neglected state of the palace was no longer recognizable, and the princess's residence transformed completely. Another striking thing is that Isla hasn't been looking for our girl. She used to call her over and bother her whenever she was bored, but recently she has been strangely quiet. She feels it's nice not to be bothered, but at the same time it makes her uneasy. She do have her suspicion about what might be going on. That day, she was clear that the Empress showed great affection for the male lead. And taking away a mere servant from the powerless princess would be no challenge for her. Someone comes from behind and touches her. It's the male lead. He asks her why she is laughing. Our girl is surprised. She asks him when he came in. He sees the injury on her hand and begins to lick it. He does that for a while. She tells him to stop, that it's fine now. He smiles. She asks him what is happening, that he always disappear on his own and then suddenly show up again. He tells her that he had somewhere to go. She asks him where he went to. He replies that he went to meet Count Belvoir. He puts a metal necklace on her neck. She touches it. She knows that it can't be a gift. She wonders if it is something related to Count Belvoir. The male lead looks at her and tells her that Count Belvoir will surely show interest in it. Our girl looks at him. This is a test to see if she can fulfill what he demands. She doesn't even want to imagine what a bored demon might do. She is sure he would carry out the contract in his own way, taking whatever price he pleases in a manner she doesn't want. To make him move the way she wants, she needs to continually create things that would spark his interest. She asks him if he is sure that he can handle whatever she says to him. He smiles and tells her yes, that she should do as she wishes. Count Belvoir is in a masked party. He looks at the young women dancing around. No one catches his interest today. He feels it's because his mind feels so restless. He first encountered Ayla when she had just come of age. Back then, he was deeply in love with someone whom he thought he'd spend his entire life with. Their parents had arranged their engagement before they were even born, and they made a solemn promise to marry when they grew up. But that promise was never fulfilled. While visiting a distant province, the emperor laid his eyes on her, and, as if it were natural, he claimed her for himself. She couldn't bear the humiliation, and in the end, she took her own life. He was devastated. There and then, the empress gave him a nice offer. They both had the same objective: revenge against Emperor Hastion. The empress wanted to strike back at Hastion, who made the woman from the desert pregnant while discarding her. He allied with the empress and became her lover. He tainted the noble imperial bloodline with his own. Their child, Ashelon, became the crown prince of the empire. But even that wasn't enough to satisfy him. To execute a perfect revenge, he advanced to the heart of power. His transactional relationship with the empress, the authority to control people as he pleases, and the extravagant indulgence in unthinkable luxuries. All of it has now become normal to him. Still standing, as if lost in the party, his mind reflects to the blue-eyed attendant. The new servant assigned to the princess palace, a minor noble from the provinces, who was astonishingly beautiful. Ever since the empress laid eyes on that servant, she hasn't called for him. He has grown tired of playing her game, but still, this could be a problem. A young pretty girl walks past him with a mask. On her neck lays the purple necklace. It's the princess. The necklace gets his attention. He'd recognize it anywhere since he was the one that gave her. Every coin he scrapped together was spent on that gift. And she cherished it more than anything. Her face, beaming with joy, flashes in his mind after all these years. He followed our girl to the balcony, outside the party hall, and asks her where she got the necklace from. She turned and tells him that she came here to meet him. He smiles and replies that there is no woman in the capital who doesn't want to meet him. They're silent for a while. He continues, telling her that if she only wants a night with him, he doesn't mind, that he only wants her to tell him about the necklace. She tells him that he is acting as if he can have anything he so desires. He doesn't want to agree with her. She asks him if the necklace means anything to him. He replies that it does, asking her if she would return it. She suggests that they play a simple game and the winner would get whatever they want. He is surprised. He asks to confirm, and she confirms. Anything. He asks her what kind of game she is talking about. She tells him that he just have to identify who she is, that he will get 3 guesses and 3 clues. He feels it's fair enough, so they begin. She tells him the first clue: they have met before. He looks at her intently. If he can remember clearly, the woman with the lightest hair he has ever met is. He tells her that it's Lady Enriha. He is wrong. She gives him the second clue, that he saw her very recently. He begins to think again. He wonders if she could be our girl. He doesn't want to believe that. He feels this woman's presence is far more different from our girl's own. Then again, he has never truly spoken to the princess. He gives up. He tells her that they should move to the third clue. She tells him that the third clue is... She pauses for a while, looking down, away from him. He notices it and wonders where she is looking at. Finally, she tells him that the third clue is that she can give him what he wants. He's surprised that she claims to know what he wants. She asks him if he is not interested in the throne. He's surprised by that. From the beginning, he belonged to the Empress. The idea of breaking away from her shadow had never crossed her mind. He wonders who this woman is. She tells him that it's time for him to start thinking differently, and they should continue the rest of their discussion another day. Walking away, she tells him that they'd see each other again soon. He tries to stop her, telling her to hold on, but before he could get to her, she disappears. She is seen in another place with the male lead. Meanwhile, Count Belvoir is shocked. He can't believe that she disappeared. Our girl is held in the arms by the male lead. They're just outside the ballroom. She asks him if he has been watching her the whole time. He says yes, commenting that he won't send her in all alone. She looks at him. From his words, it seems he has been watching from the beginning. She wonders why he left her alone in the ballroom if he was going to do this. She had never attended such a ball before, and it was overwhelming. At most, she had attended a couple of royal palace banquets, wearing an outdated dress and sitting at the corner in a daze. No one looked for her. No one spoke to her, nor did they even glance at her. She was always the shadow of the ballroom. But today was different. Wearing the dress and accessories the male lead provided, she stood in the middle of the ballroom, receiving the gazes of dozens. The unfamiliar situation was bewildering, but as time passed, she realized that it wasn't a big deal, unlike her initial nervousness. No one knew she was Princess Estelle. Therefore, she could act more freely. Her mind goes to Count Belvoir. She watched him become the Empress's man and walk into the center of power. So she tried to shake him with provocative words. While speaking with Count Belvoir, she saw the male lead standing below. She didn't expect him to be watching her all along. She wonders if he brought her here because something displeased him. She asks him if she made a mistake. He tells her no, that she did much better than he expected. He asks her if it wasn't fun for her. Looking at him, she now understands the reason for his decision for her to go in alone. For the first time, she felt like she was dealing with those she had always looked up to from below as equals. He made her realize deep down that the situation had completely changed from the past. He comments that it's a rare occasion for her to attend a ball. Moving away from her, he offers his hand for a dance. She looks at him. The attention from someone she could never trust made her heart feel strange. She tells him that it's been so long since she danced, that she might have forgotten everything. Kissing her hands, he tells her that there's no problem, that it's also been a long time for him. He tells her that they should see how much they have forgotten together. They begin to dance slowly for a while. She's deep in thoughts. For now, he is being considerate of her. She wonders what he might do when he loses his interest. She decides to be more suspicious, more cautious, more vigilant. Bringing her closer, he asks her if they should do something more fun. He takes her necklace and asks her if she doesn't like it. She tells him that every time he comes too close to her, she feels strange. He replies that he'd make sure she doesn't feel strange anymore. Whispering, he tells her that of all the moments today, this would be the most pleasant one. He begins to kiss her. She can feel a chilling ecstasy. She is scared. If she gets intoxicated by the pleasure he gives, she wonders if she would end up being manipulated by him. Immediately, she pushes him away. She tells him that they should head back home. He agrees. That night, in the Empress room, she suddenly wakes up with a start. She had a bad dream. It was that servant. She feels it was too vivid to be an ordinary dream. Overcome by surging lust, writhing and crying out, only when she felt like she was about to die, she finally woke up. She desires him, and she wants him to desire her too. She tries to remember his name. She stops in her track as she remembers Count Belvoir. She bore his son and raised him to the throne. She can't turn all these into ashes. But, meanwhile, the male lead is seen standing by the Empress window. She's sleeping. He's thinking about humans. He feels they are simple yet passionate. They burn brightly and intensely, then disappear. Igniting a flame in their hearts is truly an easy task. He feels discomfort and wonders where it is coming from. Emotions belongs to humans. Trapped in the tediousness of eternal life, the one who awakened him from sleep as he was fading away with boredom. Suddenly he's seen in our girl's room. He holds the necklace to her. He wanted to handle it delicately without breaking it. He tells her not to push him away next time. The next day, our girl is in her room. She's going through some papers. She's looking for something. After a while, she stops when she can find it. The only list she can lay her hands on are the ones that were made public. After returning from the ball, she felt a need for change. To avoid being dragged around by him, she needs to act more proactively. She tries to create a list of neutral nobles who might be somewhat sympathetic to her and not align with the pro-Crown Prince faction. Maybe buying information from Moon Chad would be better. It's a limitation. She needs more than just names and titles. But after witnessing that scene that day, she couldn't help but feel a strong surge to go back. The more she thinks about it, the more chilling it becomes. The male lead sneaks behind her, lacing her dress. He asks her what she is thinking about. She's surprised. She didn't know he had come in. Since coming to our girl's palace, he has taken care of all her services. He handled the most difficult dresses, accessories, and even hairstyling with more skill than most maids. While he is styling her hair, she asks him if there's anything that he can't do. He tells her that he doesn't understand what she means. She continues, saying that she is just curious since he is so good at everything. He tells her that if one is given enough time, one can do anything. He continues, saying that he had to try a lot of things to ease the boredom because he had endless time and nothing to do. She asks him if he can change into a child like Roa. He replies that that one is a matter of necessity, that Roa is weaker than him and it isn't easy either to maintain the appearance he has. Our girl feels like he is bragging about being superior. She chides herself for thinking about pointless things. The doorbell rings, and the head maid of the Empress's palace informs our girl that the Empress wants to see her in garden. Our girl is sensitive. Isla has been quiet lately. She wants to change into a new dress. She feels the Empress would try to rip it as soon as she sees her. The male lead tells her that there's no need for her to change. She's worried about the Empress. He assures her that nothing would happen. They arrive the place and see Ashalon there. She is surprised. He tells her that she is late, that the tea is cold now. She prostrates and greets him. He offers a sit. He comments that it's been hard to see her lately. She tells him that she heard the Empress was looking for her, so she doesn't understand why he is here. He smiles and tells her that if he had called her, she wouldn't have come, that she have never listened to him. She asks him why he sent for her. He tells her to calm down, that he called her here because he wanted to see her, adding that there's not much he can do in this boring palace. She looks at him. He's her half-brother, a few months younger than her. He had a completely different status compared to her, an unnamed princess born to a slave. As the precious son of the Empress and the Crown Prince, he grew up receiving all kinds of love poured upon him from those around him. Since he has been frail since childhood, everyone in the palace overly cherished and cared for him. To Ashalon, who grew up arrogantly, she was an easy toy to play with. When the pony he received as a gift died, for a while, he used to lash the horsewhip at her. That incident still occasionally appears in her dreams. Now, suddenly acting like they're close siblings is just another one of his fickle games. Ashalon directs his gaze to the male lead who is standing behind her, asking if he is the new servant attached to the princess. He adds that he has heard so much about him. Our girl tells him that he is just a servant. He replies, asking if she has started playing with servants, adding that he guesses a vulgar bloodline doesn't change. He started talking about her mother, how the emperor got infatuated with her that he couldn't think straight. Jokingly, he says that it's understandable because he enjoys being with her too. Our girl is silent. He continues, saying that it has been warm for the past days, it'll soon go cold again. A cold that would freeze the entire continent will be coming. He asks her what she thinks it's the best thing to do when that happens. She replies that the best thing is to avoid the cold. He agrees with her, saying that she will have to lie down flat on the ground like a dead rat and escape the biting snowstorm. He tells her to keep that in mind, that he's always looking out for her. Standing up, she tells him that she is taking her leave. He replies that he didn't give her the permission to do that. Taking his tea, he spills it on his shoe. He complains that his shoes are dirty now, asking her if she would help him. Our girl looks at him. This is a familiar scenario. No one will step up, as always. She just needs to lick the tea off. That is her duty. She walks to him and kneels at his feet. She's about to lick the tea off when everything freezes. She feels a sensation as if she lost control of her own body, an indescribable feeling. It feels like she's trapped inside her own body. The male lead walks to her and asks her why she kneels so easily. She regains control of herself. He asks her if he should kill them for her, adding that he will kill everything she doesn't want to see, and she will just have to sit on the well-prepared throne. She looks at him, weighing his offer. Honestly, she wanted to take that easy and comfortable path. Just a nod to him and she will cleanly resolve the immediate humiliation. But that is not the revenge she desires. She have always cursed Harton. She has resented their cruelty, which left undeniable scars of she and her mother. But she is half Harton by blood. On the night she offered herself as a sacrifice, she made a decision. To become more ruthless than anyone else, so as not to disgrace the name of the rotten Harton royal family. She tells him that she doesn't want to end it so simply. The male lead is disappointed, but he agrees. He lifts her up from the ground slowly, and immediately, the prince became plagued. He began to vomit blood and cough. The servants rushes to his aid. The male lead asks her if she will allow a little bit of teasing. At Moon Chad building, a carriage stops and richly adorned lady steps out. She is Marchioness Parcilia, the owner of Moon Chad. She enters the building and is greeted in the corridor by the manager. She asks him if anything unusual happened in her absence. The man tells her that there was a request to find a cure to the crown prince's illness. She reads the letter and comments that it's bothersome. She tells him to give her more update about it later. She walks to the book room. As she enters, she calls Roa. He's seen sitting down with a book. He replies, calling her Bien. Smiling, she teases him about still being a child today, adding that she can't even see him. He warns her that if she keeps doing that, he will start calling her Marchioness Parcilia, who devoured her husband. She isn't frightened. She tells him to do as he pleases, that it's not wrong that she devoured her husband. She becomes serious, asking him about the visit of the male lead. He tells her that he just left not too long. She asks him if he hewed anything, asking why the ice castle is like that. She also asks what wind blew to make it float like that. He tells her to ask one question at a time. She replies that she isn't in the mood to ask orderly, adding that floating the ice castle and paralyzing the entire empire wasn't good, that many nobles floated their business because of that. He replies her that he will tell her, but she shouldn't be surprised. She begins to guess, asking if the male lead got a contractor. Roa says yes. She can't believe it. He tells her that the contractor is Princess Estelle of the Harton royal family. She is surprised, calling her a desert girl. He immediately tells her not to call the princess a desert girl. She smiles and asks him why he is taking the princess's side. He's silent. She continues, telling him that there was a request today to find a way to cure the crown prince, adding that he was originally a sickly fellow, but this time his symptoms are peculiar. Vomiting blood, unending chills, no matter how warm the room is, he complains of cold, as if there is an ice block stuck inside him. She concludes that it must be the male lead's doing. That's why the renowned physicians can't improve the health of the prince. She wonders what kind of charm the princess have that the indifferent lord of the ice castle would descend to the human world and do such things. She also asks him why he is taking the princess' side. He replies, saying that the princess looks very delicious. She's surprised. He continues, saying that they have tasted royal bloodlines before, and many noble bloodlines. They were delicious, but that was it. But our girl is different. She have scent he has never encountered before. Similar to the Devaris, but different from the ordinary Devaris. Adding that, if he could, he wanted to sink his teeth into her right away. He tells her that she would like our girl too. A voice immediately interrupts them, saying that he hopes she doesn't like her. It's the male lead. They're both surprised. He tells them that he is not pleased about having more competition. She turns and sees him. She asks him what he is doing here. He smiles and tells her that he wants to help Pant. Our girl enter high society. Notices were posted all over the empire, offering a large reward for those who treated the crown prince. As Ashalon condition worsened, both Ayla and even Hastian, who usually show less interest in the crown prince, began taking action to treat their son. With the crown prince unable to rise from the bed, the succession structure also began to falter. All these chaos was caused by the male lead's joke. The waves he playfully stirred like a mere water game turned into a massive tsunami that engulfed the entire palace, and he watched this unfold over several days. She knew he was like a small snowflake that would melt and disappear easily, but she couldn't help wanting to see his kindness as eternal snow in winter. A maid enters the room, announcing the arrival of a letter. Our girl knows that it's rare to receive a letter from a noble at the imperial palace. The maid tells her that it's a letter from the wife of Marquis Partsilia. The wife of Marquis Partsilia, a rich widow and owner of Moonchad, was known as the Queen of High Society. Everyone would pay anything to be her friend. Our girl wonders why someone from the high society would invite her. She is inviting her to Moonchad. She dismisses the maid. Although it feels suspicious, there is no reason for her to reject that. In fact, it's a valuable opportunity given by the circumstances. Later that evening, she is dressed and ready to go. Marquis Parsilia's wife had already sent a carriage. As the servant announces it to her aloud, our girl isn't pleased. It's as if he wants everyone to know that she has accepted the Marquise's invitation, and that she is heading to Moonchad in such a luxurious procession. Inside the carriage, the male lead is sitting quietly. Our girl looks at him, that indifferent expression. From the way it is, she feels all of this is happening according to his will. She completely understands why he is doing that. She have been out of the public eye for so long. No one would think she could rise to the imperial throne. Even now, with Ashelon sick and the line of uncertain, everyone looks for a distant relative, not her. What she needs now is an incident that grabs the public's attention immediately. Finally, the male lead speaks. He tells her that he would use Marquis of Parsilia power to take control of the high society. She wonders if this is the strategy to build connection to the high society. Agreeing, she feels it's definitely the fastest way to get attention in this situation. She asks him when he would stop playing with the situation. Replying, he asks her if she is worried about the crown prince. She stammers as she tries to defend herself. He asks her if she enjoys being the object of teasing. Coming closer to her, he tells her if she likes that, he could bother her a little. She immediately says no, saying that that's not it. The carriage stops, and he announces that they have arrived. They step down to meet the Marquis wife outside waiting to welcome our girl. She greets her as she alights. Our girl looks at her closely. She had seen her a few times at the banquet hall from afar. The woman offers that they go inside. Inside a room containing only the three of them. The Marquis wife serves tea for our girl. Our girl asks her if she is also not human. The Marquis wife smiles immediately and comments that our girl has caught her, asking her how she got to know that. Our girl replies that it is more common for a butler to serve tea first, and someone like her, who is so skilled in social etiquette, should know that. The Marquis agrees with her and asks her if she can call her Bian now that she knows that she is not human. Our girl calls her that, but adds Madam on it. She immediately says no, that there should be no title there. Bian smiles and comments that our girl is so cute that she could eat her up. The male lead calls her up order. He excuses himself, saying he has something to do. He tells our girl to stay with Bian for a while. As he leaves, the lady offers that they spend good time together. She leads her to another place. Bian walks to a wall and flicks a finger. A door appears. Our girl is surprised. The door opens and they can see a room. Our girl is in awe. She comments that she has never seen anything like that before, that it's really amazing. Bian is glad that our girl liked it. Entering the room, she announces that she made the room for our girl. The room is filled with different nice dresses. She tells our girl that it's all hers. Our girl can't believe that all of these are hers. Bian tells her that she also have clothes made by herself using very special materials. Hearing special materials made our girl sensitive. She remembers a famous story about Bian. She was a daughter from a humble family who became the Marchioness Partsilia because of her beautiful appearance. A marriage solely based on love that overcame social status differences. Now thinking about it, she remembers that there was a famous story about her. However, unfortunately, her marriage did not last long. The Marquis died of an unknown illness a year after their wedding. Ironically, the many nobles who attended the funeral focused not on the Marquis, the protagonist of the funeral, but on the beautiful dress worn by the Marchioness. Noble women rallied around her, asking her where she got her dress from. She replies that it is a gift from God. The silk gloves and handkerchiefs she occasionally gave to her close acquaintances, and the corsages she offered, soon made all those nobles her loyal maids, making her the undisputed queen of the social scene. The true nature of the special silk used only by the Marchioness remained undisclosed. and people envied her silk, calling it Parsilia silk. Our girl asks her if the special material she just talked about is the Parsilia silk. She smiles and tells her that humans call it that, asking her if she is curious to know the true nature of the special material. Our girl is deep in thoughts. She'd be lying if she said she wasn't curious, but she wonders if it's okay to hear the demon's secret. A voice tells her that it's spider silk. It's Roa. Our girl is surprised. He apologizes for making her scared. She replies that it's okay. Beyond tells her that the clothes are made from her spider silk. She tells her that the appearance is made to blend in with humans. Our girl seems scared. Roa comments that her expression is so cute. Beyond assures her that there's no need to be scared. Our girl sees them as wicked. To soothe her, the Marquises tells her that maintaining a human form is so tiring, so sometimes they take on forms closer to their true selves. She continues, saying that when she turns into a spider, she produces silk to make the fabric. Roa comments that he is human. The Marchioness continues, saying that having a human form like Roa is a sign of strength. Roa tells her that maintaining an adult form consumes a lot of energy, so he usually stays in the form of a child. The Marchioness tells her that the male lead is special, that all the snow and ice in the north originate from him. Our girl thinks about what she just heard. It's a story similar to the founding myth of the Hartan Empire. It is said that the first emperor offered his soul to the god of snow and ice, creating habitable land for humans in the northern continent. She feels the male lead is much more a dangerous entity than she anticipated. The Marchioness brings out a dress and asks if she would like to try it out, adding that it would look so good on her, that she'll add flowers and ribbon there. Our girl notices that she looks excited. The Marchioness stands up, saying that she will be back soon. She begs our girl to wait for her. She also asks Roa to take care of her. Roa comments that it's hard to assist with the clothes in his present form. Suddenly he changes to an adult form. He asks her if his new form is better now. Our girl flinches. He quickly apologizes for scaring her. She stands aside from him for a while. Roa in his child form was familiar, but as an adult, she felt an instinctive sense of caution. She decides that she won't run away. He is the owner of Moon Chad, and she needs the information he possesses. Alone, he asks her what she gave in exchange for hell. She replies that she wants to sit on the throne. He tells her he can suit that much better, adding that the male lead won't act as she desires. She replies that she knows, and she also have no intention of being his puppet, and that's why she needs information from Moonchad. He tells her that he can provide her with that, but she will have to offer a fair price. She tells him that he knows already that she is poor princess and have no wealth to offer. She asks him if he isn't interested in her blood. He looks surprised for a while. He comes closer, telling her that he will make sure it doesn't hurt. Taking her hand, he bites and begins to suck. She tells him to identify those who can be drawn into her faction. Regardless of their status or origin, they just have to be capable. He asks her if that's all she wants, asking her if she doesn't want more, saying that anything is fine, that it doesn't have to be information. Then, in a voice laced with something almost wistful, he tells her that he wishes she were a greedier person. If only she wanted more, desired more, craved more, then he could feast to his heart's content. If you're for the next chapter, please drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.